And either install a new water pump or make sure that the surfaces are cleaned off and ready to accept a new gasket, like so. And the blocks cleaned off. The 3 water pump bolts tightened down to, all 3 of them down to about 10 pounds, and then 22 foot-pounds will be the final torque on them. And it takes these 6 fairly long bolts, 10mm heads on it. It's looking pretty good now. The heater hoses are back on. I just put the clamps right back where they was clamped on at, because it's already molded the rubber in the shape of the clamp, and it'll hold. The radiator still needs put back in it. I'm going to take a shot back and just dust over those paper towels on the intake ports and then pull them out. And clean the intake surfaces off, so they're already cleaned on the head. Just need to do the intake itself. If the exhaust and oil drain plug and starter and wiring is all plugged back in underneath, feel free to stick the wheels back on it and let this beast down so you're not climbing a mountain every time to get up and down in it. Although I did lay some rags over the back ports while I get the wire harness situated to accept the intake, because that corrugated, you never know when a piece of it's going to fall off. I put some weather strip adhesive on the bottom of these foam rubber separators. You can see the lines on the valley cover where they set originally. I suppose I'll glue them back down on there, even though it's not really a requirement or anything. Ooh. It's going to need some decarbonizing. The gaskets lock in on the ends, and here in the middle, and this end. I got the hose, a little perimeter of the tar cleaned up around the opening and around the injector. Just be sure not to disturb the skirt around the injector opening or the injector end itself. Cleaned that up, got about 5 tablespoons of oil out of it, drained out of the back port onto my bench. And I snapped the new gaskets in. So I'll tell you, a couple of the bolts were being stubborn, and I just took a big screwdriver and opened the hose up just a little bit. Just took some of the points off the 3 that's on there. Not just kind of a funnel shape, and that lets the bolts slip in there, because I'm going to fight them while it's up on the vehicle. Part of it's because the injector rail metal pieces was one of them, and some of the holes are a little disconfigured, but got to straighten out now. All I got to do is slip it on there. That's where this foam rubber piece lays on these 2 tracks there offhand. But I'm going to slip him on there. Make you a hole in the wire harness like before. And might slip the evap tube back on the back of the engine. A little pipe down there, so it won't be so hard to get at. And push it off to the side. And then I got the PCV vent. Other than that, it should be a go. Don't have anything down in inside the intake ports, so should be good. Okay, I got right up in there and set that back in without incident. I'm going to be putting blue Loctite on all of these bolts, and I'll tighten them down first step to about 20 inch-pounds, and then a final torque of 89 inch-pounds. On doing this intake, it's best to have about 6 inches of reach with one part and about 3 inches on the other to do in between on both sides. Get around the wire harness and then the back and the front both. About 6 and 3 for the 5/16 socket on the end of it. Alright, well that's stuck down on there pretty good. I'll stick the water crossover pipe in there anytime. Go ahead and hook the injectors up and the fuel line. And tighten any fuel rail clamps, bolts took loose, pull them with them intake bolts. And put the safety back on the fuel line. Catch back there and start putting the coils and plug wires on it. Start plugging the sensors back in, routing the wires right, and drag the alternator. We'll go ahead and put this power steering bracket back on. Lay the alternator on top of it. The coolant sensor has a copper washer on it. Kind of supposed to use a new one. That's the old one there. It really digs the center out of it. But probably some Teflon tape or silicone or Teflon paste will seal it back up. I just happen to have some, so that fit it. Front power steering and alternator support bracket. Put the safety clip on the fuel line. Now the passenger side still has the dipstick to be put in and a short bolt, 15mm head that goes down in there between the manifolds. And I'll probably just go ahead and stick it in there just to get it out of the way. Check the O-ring for being messed up or put a new one on it. And I installed the crossover pipe before putting this power steering bracket on. So I've got good access. Not that it's impossible, but it's just better access with it all. Moving right along. Ground's hooked up, coils are hooked up, injectors are hooked up. Just remember the dipstick is down in between the third manifold slot. And bolts on the side of it. And just an advisory, that insulation on the back firewall, that stuff will eat you up if you react to insulation. Both of my knuckles is on fire over getting into that stuff on that number 8 plug. It is something else. I put the plug wire on, then the coil pack down to the plug wire. But it's definitely bad news for skin. But I really need to get some more of that corrugated stuff. It's all fell off the wiring and really don't want to leave that rubbing against stuff. Could tape it up, but I think I got some up laying around. The coils are locked in. Vacuum line off there. Still got to put the evap line on the evap solenoid. It's this deal here. Left the alternator loose so I can get that done. And it goes right there. Just like that. Now I can put the 2 bolts in the alternator. Might have to take a hammer and knock them bushings back a little bit. It seems pretty tight. Map sensor's plugged in. Wire harness is going through its cut back there. Heater hoses plus fuel tank hose. Oh, air conditioning belts on. vent pipe goes to the air cleaner, I believe. Definitely needs some of that corrugated piping. Almost. I'll probably put the radiator in it and pressure test the system before I do anything else. Make sure there's not any problems on the cooling system. See where the old harness was running on the air conditioner line there. Starting to wrap up some. I've got the accessory belt on, the alternator's mounted. Got some of the corrugation replaced on some of the lines that are going to be exposed up underneath the beauty cover on the engine. Went ahead and installed the hood hinges, or like support hinges. Got to install them first and then put the shock back on. And kind of start policing up for tools that fell down in behind places that they don't belong. Loose rags, paper towels, junk, anything missed. It's going to touch the manifold or get in the way of the workings. Any debris in places it doesn't belong. I'm going to wait and put that top plate on this with the 310mm last until I give it a little run and see how it does. I put 6 quarts of oil in it. Just let that be filling the pickup tube up. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the radiator in it. And probably do a little pressure testing on it. It's been about 20 minutes and I don't hear any gurgling in the engine. That's air too. It's a lot harder to seal air than it is liquid. Holding it just above 10 pounds. Or about 10 pounds. Close enough for government work. I'm going to hook this upper hose and slip the radiator cooling fans down in there. Alright, where'd the motor go? Oh. I stuffed the air cleaner on. It's kind of a pain to get it over that knob right there. But tighten the clamps down, left radiator hose, the fans are installed and plugged in. Make sure they're plugged in, the transmission lines are hooked up, and the support brackets are fastened back down. I still need a little more corrugated pipe. I got some on the one side. And tighten the air cleaner clamps down, hook that vent hose back up. And transmission sticks tight. Mass airflow sensors plugged back in. Hoses hooked back up to the radiator in their respectable places. With any luck. And routed and connectors hooked back up. And that one's snapped back down to the radiator support. Clamps lined up. Alright, I'm going to leave the engine cover off of it until see if it's going to blow up or not. And there's a plastic cover that goes over this, still got to snap back down on the top. I'm going to go ahead and use the airlift and put the antifreeze in it. 60-40 mix of Cool. Mix it up in the container there. Alright, it's full of antifreeze with nearly a drop spout. Using one of these deals. Yeah, you apply vacuum to the system, then hold it, and then stick the line into pre-mixed antifreeze, and it displaces a vacuum with antifreeze. That removes all the air. I'm going to go ahead and hook the negative battery cable up and give it a little starting knife. Put the wheels on it. It's still on jack stands, but something went wrong. This big boy just take one off, and I'd rather have it landing on the tires than I would on the body or something. But I don't know. It looks alright. Power steering pump sure is rusty. See how it does. Find the keys to it. Lay down on me now. Rocking a little bit. Anything shooting out of it? Little rocker noise. That pattern's going. See anything? Go underneath. Don't run over me now. Took care of that nasty oil leak back there. It's pretty dry. That's nice. I don't hear any exhaust leaks, at least. Let's see if the check engine light's on. Yeah, it looks pretty good in here. Yeah, it's got good oil pressure. New cam filled in a little bit of gaps. I can live with it. Well, I'm gonna get it off the stands and I'll take it for a little drive later. Yep, I tamed it down a little bit. Bunch of work. Bunch of work. See anything leaking? Looks alright, I guess. See holes in the answer in the radiator. Yeah, I'll check for any water and oil later, or take it for a drive and any missing. And it'll be about ready to go home, clean it up a little bit. Yeah, like that.